This episode of Express Training Bites is brought to you by Promo Corner. Are you looking to support a sales campaign and reach a larger audience? Raise your brand awareness with content sponsorships. For more information, reach out to sales@promocorner.com. This is Express Training Bites. I am Brandon Petrich, and with me, I think you guys can see who I have, but we have been talking this whole week with our guests. We had Javi on Tacos talking about Clubhouse. DMJ's guest had a little bit of Clubhouse talk, and today we have Charity Gibson from Peerless Umbrella, and we're going to be talking Clubhouse. So,
what?
Charity,
What's Clubhouse?
Tell us a
what
little.
What is
it? That's my first question. So, the one thing that I do know, and then the one thing that I hear everybody talk about is that it is iOS only. So, I am an Android user. I know you are too, but how did you get around that?
I got two phones, one from my mom and Pokemon Go. No, so Android girl, forever and always die hard Android. I don't understand Apple, but I do know that there is a Terrarium app for Apple. And if you ask your child nicely, she will lend you her extra phone so that you can play on Clubhouse as well. All you have to do for the low price of keeping her terrarium plants alive daily. So there you go. That's what I do. I borrowed this phone from my kid and she reminds me of it all the time. She's like, do I ever get that phone back? I'm like, your plants are alive. And I've expanded your terrarium garden by like 5 plants. So it's a lot of pressure to keep. It's like a Tamagotchi from like the 90s.
Oh
I'm
my
like,
gosh.
feed me, see more. Anyway, so that's why I'm on it. And I know a lot of people have something that's like, oh, it's Apple only, it's so exclusive and pretentious. They have 7 people on their dev team. I think Javi mentioned that.
Yep.
They just dev'd for what they knew. And then they're like, oh, cool. Like people actually like it and they're using it and it's getting bigger. So Android's on the way, but I think I mentioned this on with Kirby. If you're not on there now, you're missing so much. So the whatever cost it is to get an old phone and hook it up to Wi-Fi with a Google Voice number or whatever, do it, make that investment, because I have made so many cool friends. I have gone on stages and spoken with my idols, and now we're friends. We talk back and forth. We have phone calls. It's amazing. The access, this is a buzzword you'll hear on Clubhouse. It's like, oh, what are you getting when you come on early? You're getting access to people that are just millionaires, business people, smaller upcoming people, app developers. We were on live with the director of buying for Netflix Global, who was in our room talking to us about procuring promotional products and how to do it and asking for strategies. So freaking cool, man. There's a lot of fun people there. Yeah, all for the price of keeping plants alive on your kid's iPhone. Who knew?
Well, I'll tell you what, my girlfriend's an iOS person, and so she has her old iPhone. All right, I'm activating it. I'll be on there in a second. So outside of
converted another one.
Yeah, outside of that hurdle, and and by the way, for everybody who is watching right now live, now obviously if you're watching this recorded, sorry you missed it, but if you are watching live, there is a chat box over on that side on Facebook, on either Promo Corner's Facebook page or Promo Show's Facebook page. If you have any questions, please feel free to throw them in there and we'll get them over to Charity as fast as we can. We do have one question already. Deb has asked, will an iPad work? Have you heard of any iPad users?
Yes. Okay. iPads will work. Yep, you're good. Anything that has iOS running on it and can connect to the internet, you can download Clubhouse. Now be careful. There are 2 Clubhouse apps. One is an imposter. Look for the one with the little wavy hand. And I could show you the icon, but it's a dude in a hat when it downloads. So don't put your information in any weird, funky apps. I don't know if you can even see if I show this to you, but like, can you see the Clubhouse app right there? Dude,
oh yeah. Hat? All right.
And
there
the Terrarium app, in case anybody. Yeah. So definitely, yeah, for that. And then the second thing you did mention, what is Clubhouse? And so I won't go too far into it, but it's an app. Obviously, you open the app and your hallway, basically your Facebook feed is your Clubhouse feed. It's called the hallway. And based off of the people that you follow, there are rooms that you can go into and listen to people talk. Like that's it. There's no audio, there's no status updates, and it's live. Once the room is closed, you've missed the conversation. It's not recorded. Like it's just having that listening to that person, almost like talk radio. But there's a hand raising option. So if you have something to say, if you're like me, you can't just keep your mouth shut, press the little hand button and they can bring you up on stage, and then you're one of the speakers, which is really cool. So you can have interactive conversations with people that are either doing a Q&A or they're doing a presentation, or different things like that. And there's like pitch parties. Some people are like, pitch us your idea. There's investors on there that'll give you investment money. There is a huge group of promo people, and we're like, hey, ask us anything, talk to us about branded merch, what questions do you have?
So hold
And
on,
then there's
don't gloss
obviously
over
a lot of,
that real quick, because I,
I
I
won't.
want you to talk about that just real quick. So there is
Yeah.
you and Javi and I believe Mandy Clay have an
Mandy
actual
Clay.
scheduled show, or how does that work?
Yeah, so we were just kind of talking in the room. I was running Clubhouse for newbies, just to kind of teach people what the heck Clubhouse is and how to use it, because there are some rules. Like if you see people mic tapping, that doesn't mean they're like trying to talk. It means like if they're tapping back and forth, they are clapping for you, which now I try to do that on my Zoom calls. It doesn't really go over so well, but yeah, so mic taps, entering rooms, that kind of thing. Like Clubhouse etiquette. When you do come up on stage, you have to immediately mute your mic, because otherwise you're unmuted and everybody can hear your background noise. So running Clubhouse for newbies, I did that probably 4 or 5 times. And then of course the question is, well, when are we doing this again? And so just came up with Let's Talk Tuesdays. And so we do talk. There are a bunch of promotional products people that come on Tuesdays just because that's kind of our community. But we're getting more and more end buyers in, and it's super fun to be able to ask them questions. So best practice, no net pricing. We don't give away supplier names or any kind of weird, divulge any information. It's, we kind of keep it casual, but we do ask those probing questions like, where are you ordering your promotional products now, and what are you ordering? Or they'll come up and ask us like, what's hot, and talk to people in that regard as well. So we're there every Tuesday. Let's Talk Tuesdays is 5 p.m. Mountain, 7 p.m. Eastern, and just a continuing conversation. We don't know what it'll evolve to, but there's that. And then we're also you can start clubs, and so we are starting a couple different clubs as well, and that just means like a group of people that can start rooms under that club. But that's like 201, so you can ask me about that later.
Okay, that's awesome. Well, and Ellie just chimed in here too, and she said she loves Let's Talk Tuesdays. It works out great because it's during happy hour.
Ellie is so great. If you guys don't know, man, her and her coffee, she comes in and inevitably we, bring that up, and her Logo Jojo stuff comes up, and she's there participating, even if it's not about coffee, like just to have that conversation. She's a loyalist. Ellie, we love you. Thank you for showing up and also for caffeinating us.
So you mentioned something about access, right? Or you are getting you are you are literally getting end users that are coming into this show, and you're getting them to answer questions that they may not answer to you in a face-to-face conversation, or if they feel like you're going to instantly start selling them. So how valuable is that right now?
I think it's priceless. I mean, that's incredibly valuable, right? So some of the things that we've heard. So the first rule of Clubhouse is actually that we do talk about Clubhouse. So it's not quite like Fight Club. Second rule of Clubhouse is serve, don't sell. So the very first thing is you're going in with the service, right? We don't talk about which companies we're with. We don't, if somebody's like, well, where do I buy promotional products? And like, oh, well, hey, you can call me, and like, I can, here's my phone number. It's nothing like that. You have your profile set up with all of your information. So as people are speaking, because it is audio only, you can tap on people's profiles and read about them while they're speaking. And then it's connected to either Twitter or Instagram. So you'll get a ton of people following you on Instagram. And I think that's where more of the social, not selling, but social selling component comes in. So yeah, in these rooms, we actually specifically gear the rooms towards those types of questions, right? So messaging matters, how to build your brand with merchandise, or virtual events, how to create a kick-ass event using swag. So we're gearing our names of our rooms so specifically for end buyers to come in to have these high level conversations. Again, like I said, I don't sell direct. So for me to be there, it's really just a service thing. But to educate people, we're all wearing the same jersey. Even the promo people are, to be able to hear these kinds of things. One person we asked, it's like, where do you order your promotional products? And of course, they came out with one of these online big boys. And of course, you could hear, even though you couldn't hear anybody, it was like kind of the audible gasp. And it's like, okay, well, let's dive into this. Why? And the guy was really nice. He just said, I called 5 or 6 different companies that I had heard of that I found on Google, and not one person called me back. Out of all of those, he's like, I gave one more person a shot. They finally called me back and took all my information. They never got me a quote. And so I didn't have any other option. And so I went to this website and they gave me fantastic customer service. My stuff showed up really quickly and it was everything I needed right then. So I'm like, you had 10 opportunities to get them, with a smaller, and I think there were 50 people in the room at that time, 50
Hmm.
distributors mostly in that room. I
Hmm.
think that was super eye-opening for them to hear, like, holy cow, we're missing opportunities for people because they're calling us and we can have that business, but we're just not taking it to that next step and giving them the service they need. So those conversations to me, they need to be heard. And I believe all of these solutions that exist now that are online solutions and ones that are coming up, one of my favorite companies, Canva, sells t-shirts. I promote Canva all the time. I live in Canva. And I think these companies are popping up as a solution to a problem that exists, and it's a lack of customer service problem. And if we tout great customer service, then we better, talk the talk and also walk the walk and actually see it through. And Clubhouse is bringing all this to light for a lot of people. So cool things happening, I think.
That's awesome, and that's the one thing I have. And I'm not an anti Clubhouse person. It was just, again, it was my biggest hurdle was the Android thing. But again, I do have access to iOS, so here comes Brandon. But so one of the things that I think I like the most about this too is that when we all got forced to go digital, we all got forced to be in our homes. We didn't really get to run around in those circles anymore. Do you remember right before the pandemic, you guys, the last show I remember was in Austin, Texas. I had just moved back. I ran downtown and I met
Yeah.
all of you guys that were down there for a meeting, and those little things don't happen anymore. So the hot goss, the all of the trends, all of the new things, what are you working on? Those conversations aren't happening as frequently as they used to.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I see, because Zoom couldn't provide that. A virtual show really even couldn't provide that. Happy hours got to be like, okay, now which one do I go to? Because I'm
Yeah.
trying to avoid that person, but I really want to see that, like that got too hard. So I think that's really, I think you're exactly right. Like Clubhouse has finally found its niche, and especially with our industry. So speaking to that, how does Clubhouse work a little bit better for the promo industry versus like a Zoom or more of a virtual show? Or is it just a different way to communicate?
I think it's just a different way to communicate. I also think that it's kind of an on your own time thing. There is a sense of urgency, but people can tell right away um, if you're faking it on Clubhouse.
Mm,
And people can leave quietly as the little button at the bottom. So if you're in a room and it's not interesting, people are going to bug out really fast. Like you have to make it worth people's time to have an audience in there. And so I think that's what Clubhouse, at least for me, is doing. It's also, I talked about this a little bit before we came on live. I know a lot of people talked about listening passively, and I really do. Like, I will clean my house while I'm listening, and it's really, unless I'm moderating a room and I have to be on live and talking, but I do listen to a lot of what's going on. It's, again, an audiobook or like talk radio, something like that. So it's a lot more at your own convenience. I don't have to be camera ready. And a lot of what happens is after hours and things like that too. I'm not on during work time. But I think the biggest thing to realize, and I kind of mentioned at the beginning of my 40-minute spiel that I just can't stop talking, but the idea that it's interesting, and that if you don't captivate people's attention, then they're going to go. And I think that's the one biggest thing is people are talking about Zoom fatigue. It's not Zoom fatigue, they're bored. And so I will come to a million Zoom calls and Zoom happy hours. I would do this with you every single day. We're basically on a Zoom call. There are people that I have been on calls with every single Monday since the beginning of pandemic, and I cry if I have to miss that call. It's
mm,
not Zoom fatigue, it's boredom. So step
mhm.
up your game. If you want people to be excited to come see you, if you want more attendance, then change what you're doing. Because if you wouldn't want to be in that Zoom call with you, guess what? Nobody else is going to want to be there either. And
Yeah.
that's where Clubhouse comes in, because you have to be interesting to keep people's attention. You have to have the right people talking on stage. You have to be engaging. You have to, bring people up. Chris Delaney is a Clubhouse host or a Clubhouse mod for couple different clubs, and he has DJ Madge, and they run a dance party. So in every 20 minutes while they're resetting the room, he's like, all right, got DJ Madge up to the stage. Let's talk about him. He's the hottest DJ in Toronto. When he's not here on Clubhouse, he's lighting up the stage, whatever. It's like, DJ Madge, take it over. And everybody mic taps and dances. I'm like, whoo, dance party. You want to be on stage speaking so that you can tap your mic and be part of this fake dance party. But that's so engaging. And like, I'm like, oh, Chris is speaking. Like, I'll immediately jump into his rooms and spend hours there because it's just people that care and your friends. And now that translates to, there's no direct message feature on Clubhouse, but you can follow people on Instagram. And so you connect with them on Instagram. We're DMing there. We're taking screenshots of the rooms that we're in, and we're putting everything on Instagram and building the following there. Every room I mod, I usually get 50 to 75 new followers on Instagram too. So just keeps the conversation going. I just love Clubhouse. Can you tell?
Oh man. And probably the coolest part that I've seen so far that you showed me right before, so I'm going to ask you about it now, but you talked about passive listening, but then there's also active listening. So how do you keep those notes? How do you remember all of the thousands of conversations that you went through?
Okay, so originally I was not, of course, we're kind of like, promo people, we can never find a pen when we need it. I usually always keep my notebooks near me, but I would be listening, I'd be driving, like getting my car washed or wherever. And so I'm sitting here and hearing something fantastic, and I will have text messages that I sent to myself, a million of them. Finally, I got smart and opened a Google Doc. I'm like, Charity, you have really Google Drive? Like, come on. And then I also sometimes, because I think there's so many knowledge bombs that get dropped on Clubhouse, I'll also put them on Twitter, like as heard on Clubhouse, and then the quote that the person said, and tag them in it, because I think that one is a way to keep that living. Two, it's just a shout out. Like, it's, you heard somebody say something and they're like, oh my gosh, she actually tweeted it and tagged me in it. And maybe it's somebody that I didn't know. That makes a connection point for us. But the best thing that happened after, and I did get journals. I also have notes, and I write furiously. Sometimes I'll have 3 or 4 or 5 pages from one Clubhouse room. I mean, Clubhouse rooms can go for like an hour, and if they're really, really good, sometimes they go for like 8 hours. So I've had to really discipline myself. Some Saturdays I'm like 8 in the morning, and it's like you start with daily intentions, and then you're just in rooms, and it's like it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. My Saturday is gone. So I have had to be diligent. However, going back to what you said, well, bam. So
there it is.
Okay. So Joe Ingram is what is his website? Clubhousegenius.com. Talk about an entrepreneur. And I talked about this after like the first couple rooms. I'm like, we're in promo. I need a Clubhouse notebook. I need a journal or a cute thing. And I needed to say like what room I was in and the date and who the people were that were moderating and all the fun people that I wanted to remember what they were talking about. Because you follow a bunch of people and you were like, well, when did I meet them? So I was writing down all of them. Like, I want it in a journal. Like, I want it to be Clubhouse branded, and I want my friends to live there, and I want to be able to sell them, and I want it to be cute. Of course, those things, like, I wish I would have invented the Snuggie, right? A backwards bathrobe and call it a Snuggie. We could have been millionaires, but somebody else beat me to it. Now, Joe beat us all to this. So this is the Clubhouse journal, essentially a promotional product, but he's got his little ISBN on there, and he's selling this bad boy on Amazon. So you open it up, Clubhouse gems, right? So room name, group name, room date, moderator, moderators to follow. So if you like what they're saying, then you can follow them and make sure that you know every time they go live. Important information gathered, all of those gems that those knowledge bombs. And then websites to follow and software to investigate. When you're in those virtual event rooms, holy cow, when we're talking about, okay, hop in and promo show, and it's fun to be able to hear other technology too and check those out and bring those back and apply those to promo. Offer extended to me, this is freaking cool. So if there's moderators, it's like, hey, DM me Clubhouse for my free Clubhouse journal. That didn't happen. He just sent me this because apparently I'm an influencer or something. I don't know, whatever. But they'll do that. And people will do, DM me Clubhouse for my free whatever 4-page branding strategy guidebook or whatever, and it's all ClickFunnels, gets you into their system and into their email list and whatever, but they're freaking brilliant when they do that. Anyway, so the offer that you get, something free, key takeaways, your aha moments, and then I will complete the following actions by when. And to me, this tells me how powerful Clubhouse is. It's not just sitting there passively listening. These people give you goals to do and talk to you about building your business plan and bettering your Instagram bio and building your ClickFunnels and what are your daily intentions. And then they follow up with you and keep you accountable for free. Like it's just out of, because they're serving, not selling. Of course, eventually, like they want to build that relationship and make sure that you like them. But this right here is genius. Like I'm going to complete it and I'm going to do it by when. And it's amazing. The conversations, the relationships, the ways that my business tactics have grown, even just implementing some of the stuff I had. I was in an email marketing group and they were talking about how to get better open rates. And I did what they said. My email open rates were 86% that way. Like who gets an 86% open rate with a 15% click through? I was like, that's ridiculous, from listening to stuff I found in Clubhouse. So there you go.
Well, so
Things to
now
do.
we're gonna have to bring you back onto ETB, and you're gonna have to tell us how to do that. So
I'll have to go back through my notes and I'll bring a special guest, the dude
go.
that said that on Clubhouse, right?
That is
It's
awesome.
just so fun. So this is why everyone's like, you get so excited about Clubhouse. Like if I hear Clubhouse one more time, I'm like, but a journal, look. Like, and my friend Joe, that's Joe Ingram right there, lives in San Diego. So fun. So
that is so cool. I don't know. It's just, I'm waiting. I'm waiting to see when it becomes something bigger, right? So I'm a capitalist at heart, and so I'm like, I see this free program, and I see these amazing people in there that usually charge $5,000 an hour to talk to them, like Grant Cardone's and the Gary V's of the world, and they're in there for free right now. And I'm like, how long is that gonna last? It's not.
right. It's not.
But then I also see like, okay, so is it hot right now because it is free, and will it drop off when it's not? Will there be a paywall? Like I'm trying to see when is it going to just become another social media platform?
Right. And that's, it started back, I think like some of the original people that started using it, like Brian Fanzo and some of the other initial people that were given test access, like it was like May or June of last year. Like it's been around for
Oh,
a
wow.
while.
Okay.
They started opening up to like invites, I think November, December, to more people. And I think marketers ruin everything. I think, right now it's invite only and that makes it special. I know it makes it exclusive and that pisses some people off, but get past being offended. Being offended as a choice, and think about what it actually does for the community. It provides value because you don't just have every Joe Schmo sitting in there. Like I have to personally recommend somebody. People are selling their Clubhouse invites, but if somebody gets booted that you recommended, you get booted with them.
Ooh.
So there's some recourse, right? So if I bring you on and you're, racial slurs and whatever, you get the boot or get reported, I'm out, charity out. Like, and so I'm responsibly recruiting. And then I think the second part of that is because everything is small, the technology works really well. They're not overloading the servers, because if Elon Musk comes on and speaks and everybody in Clubhouse rushes to it, and it does sometimes bomb the servers. But for the most part, server reliability is really good. Their town halls are really familiar and things like that. So I do think as it opens up, not only to Android, but also the invite process opens up, you're going to lose the magic. And I think that's why it's so important right now. Like I joke about the terrarium investment, but if it's $150 or whatever to get a used iPhone, these are like TED Talks every day, and there's tremendous value. And I think when it opens up, you're going to have scammers, you're going to have marketers, you're going to have people that just don't understand the serve before sell. It's like that used car salesman. Actually, I just met a used car salesman that was actually really good. So not all of you, I don't want to stereotype, but that smimey salesperson kind of thing, it's already starting to happen a little bit, and that makes me so sad. So I guess the other thing that I would say is, if you're a promotional products person, you are getting on Clubhouse, please, for the love of all things promo, don't jump in a room and just be like, hey, buy this pen. It's only $29.99, half off, double retail, just for you, comes in full color and you can print and blah, blah, blah. Like, stop. Just tell people about why promotional products work and how they can enhance, answer questions genuinely and authentically. Like, when we use case studies, if you're looking to build your virtual, I had a client who did this and this is the result that they saw from it. Oh, that's really cool. I'm going to connect with you in your DMs or connect with you later. And that to me keeps it genuine and authentic, and really gives, I think, all of promotional products professionals a better reputation. We're all wearing the same jersey. I think I said that on DMJ with Kirby too. We're all wearing the same t-shirt, the same jersey, whatever it is. So the better that one of us does, the better all of us do.
I love it. And we've got a bunch of comments in here, especially when we started talking about, just how much you love it and everything. And then when you brought up the whole, if somebody gets booted, you get booted too. So we have Ellie and Tim both chiming in, just, talking about how who you invite does matter. Tim does see that there may be pay gates for events in the future, which
Yeah.
I think would be awesome. I mean, you've got to make some money. You've got an amazing platform. So I think that's really cool. Let's see, somebody else. I
Also,
saw
Tim
something
has a
else.
room. He wakes up every morning and they do his conversations over coffee too with him and Michelle. I know they were on. You probably talked about that yesterday. I think I saw them on
Yep.
Industry Insider. But yeah, that's a good one. I missed that one, but Tim, I would be there.
Yeah, he said, yeah, he did say that. He goes, I love Clubhouse. We have a daily room. I mean, I see them on Facebook, right? I'm more of a Facebook and YouTube guy. I don't know if that dates me, but that's just where I feel
No.
like I'm better. Uh, um, let's see. There was something else I wanted to bring. Okay. So Ellie and Tim both say if they have invites, if you want to talk about an invite, go ahead and DM them. Like literally, the chat just exploded. So Alex Bowen says this is amazing. Thanks, Charity. And looks like Deb.
Thank you.
Oh, can you give the website on where she can buy that book? She can't find
Yeah.
clubhousegenius.com.
Oh, clubhousegenius.com. Okay, so the guy who does it is Joe Ingram.
Okay.
On Instagram, he's at Joe, Joe Ingram, Ingram.
Perfect.
Or if you look on Amazon for Clubhouse Journal, it's on Amazon as well.
Perfect. All right. So hopefully, Deb, you can find that book there. Oh, and Mary, we love you. Yes. Thank you so much for coming in. Yeah. All right. So we've given the 30,000 foot overview. You've given how it can work for promo. Don't be a jerk. Who you invite does matter. If you're an Android user, stop being a putz and go find an old piece of tech that actually I think it has to be has to be able to have newer software on it. Yeah.
Yeah, so it can't be like archaic. That's Apple's way, right? Antiquated. Like, what do they call that? Planned antiquation or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Planned obsolescence. Yeah, smart. Go for it. Same thing like with monetizing Clubhouse. I think there's something smart about that too when you talk about minimizing, like invest a little bit. If you're willing to make a little bit of an investment, you're going to see a return. So I'm okay paying a little bit too, especially if it makes the community a little bit more rich. Because people are vested in being there. It's like they're willing to give up. If somebody's not willing to pay $5 for something that's really going to help them, then that's okay. I think that's fine. That's your choice. But I think it'll enrich the community a little bit too.
Awesome. If you still have some time, Tim has requested that you talk a little bit more about clubs.
Clubs. So clubs are new, not new. How they are assigning clubs is new. So, man, all right. So the way that Clubhouse is built, I guess before I can talk about clubs, I kind of have to talk about how like the ground level foundation of Clubhouse. So Clubhouse is, I mentioned you have the hallway. And so as you follow people or interests, your hallway starts being filled with rooms when those people are speaking or are in rooms around those subjects or with those people. Does that make any kind of sense?
Yep.
So if I follow you and you start speaking, now your room is in my hallway for me to go and click into.
Okay.
Or if somebody is talking about music or travel, if they've put those monikers in their Clubhouse room, then those will show up and I can click into those hallways based off, or into the hallway, into the room off of my interests. The rooms are like, imagine like a ballroom, right? At a trade show, and there's people up on stage in that room, and then people are filling into the audience. So the people that can talk are the speakers and moderators. The people that are listening only are in the audience. Okay. And the speakers can turn on hand raising, which means you can come up and actually talk, or they can turn it off and it's just them talking. Most rooms, you can raise your hand at least at certain points throughout the room, raise your hand and come on stage as a speaker. And the moderators are the people that bring you onto that. So that's kind of the basic, you join, how to get in a room, what the rooms look like. Then they've started what's called clubs. And so basically communities of people that share a commonality. So we just actually recently started the Promo Chat Club. And so there's also another one I love. It's how to run $1 million business. There's just a lot of knowledge that I glean from that. There is a like female marketers group, like whatever topic you're interested in, people will create groups that people can join this club. Mm-hmm. And when the moderators or the owners of the club start a room within the club, then everybody in the club is notified. Or if you're in that club, you can also start a room underneath that club. So as the club grows, obviously the community in that club also grows with it. So up until recently, you had to apply for a club. You can only have 2 clubs, so choose wisely. If you're going to start a club, make sure that you know what it's about and what your purpose is, long term. You can also buy domains, .club domains. So if you have, it's like, hey, visit us at promochat.club. Javier just bought it, but we haven't used it yet. So just pretend you didn't hear that, but keep it in mind. So if you're starting your own club, it could be whatever, promocorner.club, whatever. You can, get people information outside of Clubhouse, because Clubhouse is so limited in how we get to communicate with each other.
Right.
So there's that. But they recently, so instead of having to apply for clubs, now you can just open your own club, which is really cool. So you open your club, you talk about what the core values of that club is, and then you can join and invite people to join as well. So it's basically just a way for you to know how to find people that you really want to be associated with on Clubhouse. And you can join a bunch of clubs. You're not limited to how many you can join. You're only limited to how many you can start. And that's 2.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. That's really cool. That's a really neat feature, and that's progression of having more and more people using it. So
yeah,
cool. Charity,
yep.
Thank you so much for taking your time out today. I know it's a very special day for you. We're not going to talk about that.
No, we can. I'm still in my 30s for another 12, 13 hours. It just goes so fast. I don't feel old. So so my birthday's tomorrow. I don't feel old. I think that's what I'm sad about going into my 40s, is that I just feel like this first 40 years went so fast. I don't want the next 40 to go as quickly, but I hear they speed up. So here's to dinosaur shirts and acting like we're 12 for another 4 or 5 or 10 decades.
Yes. I love it. I love it. Well, happy early birthday from me and from everybody at Promo Corner. And thank you so much for joining me today on Express Training Bites.
Thanks for having me. Super fun conversation. If anybody wants to learn more, you can follow me on Instagram at It's Me Charity G, and I am on Clubhouse as Charity Gibson or at Charity Poppins. Feel free to join us Tuesdays. Let's Talk Tuesdays. We're talking about promo mostly, but also some other things. Brandon, I expect to see you there Tuesday, 5 p.m. Mountain, 7 p.m. Eastern. Clubhouse boy.
I will be there.
Holding you to it.
Oh, yeah. So I guess I need that journal and things I'm going to complete. So that will be my first entry into that journal. Actually join Clubhouse.
No, I'll send. There you go. I'll send you one. It's in the mail.
Perfect. Thank you so much, you guys, for watching Express Training Bites, and we will see you next Thursday.